But the book is The 10X Rule by Grant. Is it Cardone or Cardone? Okay, thank you. All right, so are we rolling? So we're ready for our next presenter, Aaron Latham Music.
Thank you.
Yeah, back and forth here.
Okay, so I'll go
Yes.
forward. Okay. All right, so I'm Aaron. I have worked at Latham Music. I started there actually as a guitar instructor, and that was while I was studying music at Missouri Western. So that's my beginning there. After I graduated from Missouri Western, there was a part-time sales position. So that's, let's see if I'm too far. There we go. I guess I will start back at what we do at Latham. So we do sell, of course, musical instruments, but we also do audio systems. So that would be a lot of churches, schools, businesses as well. One of our bigger ones we did in 2024 was the Civic Arena. So our sound install team, we did the arena, we did the conference rooms. So that would be one of the bigger jobs that we have done. One that we just finished up was St. Joe Christian, got a new gym. So we did put in a big sound system there as well. But that's become a really big part of our business, something that does keep us really busy. Lessons, I've got several instructors that we do private lessons on really the majority of instruments. And then we do band rentals, which has become another big part of the business. That was something that I implemented after I took over the business. Right now I do employ 11 people, 8 of those full-time. I have one guy that specializes in audio installations. I have another person that I'm kind of training to do that as well with him. We do repair work as well. So the audio installer, he also does most of the repair work. He sets up guitars, works on amplifiers, electronics. 3 main salespeople that are full-time. And I just hired my 3rd band repair technician. So it's been 5 years back now that I was using a local repair technician, had his own shop. He's been doing it for about 50 years now. But I was driving instruments over to his shop, having him do the repair work for us. And one day, kind of on a whim, I don't know what got into me, but I walked in and gave him a couple instruments, and I just said, hey, I really love having you as a repair tech. Someday, if you ever decide to sell your business, I'd be interested. And he immediately responded with, well, what are you thinking? The best time is when somebody's interested. So I was like, I really wasn't thinking. I just kind of threw it out there. And so about a month later, we were moving his shop into our building and putting in shelves, pulling stuff out. But that was Gerhardt Music. I think probably a lot of people at least have heard the name because, like I say, he's been in St. Joe his whole life. I think this year is year 49 or 50 that he has been doing repair work. But it worked out just really fantastic. I hired him. He didn't have to worry about, trying to sell his business later on because he's getting close to retirement. But really been fantastic to have him on site. And since then, about 5 years back, I did hire a person to work as an apprentice to Larry. So she's been back in the repair shop with him. Try to get that back one. There we go. And then we've grown enough to the point that I needed a 3rd repair technician, and was really fortunate because it's a hard thing to find, but just connections, mostly through Mr. Gerhardt. We found somebody at a repair school in Iowa that was from the area, and he was looking to work close to home. So felt very fortunate to have that. This past summer, hired 2 school band reps that they will drive to schools, work with band directors in the area. That's been really beneficial to us as well. Originally, I started the band rental program, and I was going and meeting with band directors. I was never in band, so I felt a little out of place to be going in and talking with these people, but I think they could tell that, I wanted to do right by them. I wanted to benefit their school programs. And so we ended up picking up enough schools that I was able to step away from that. I've had a few different people take on that job, but like I say, this last summer, really fortunate to finally find a couple of retired band directors who could relate to these people who've, done that job for 40 plus years. And that's been really fantastic. For our lesson program, I have 15 self-employed instructors. So with the lessons, they're, like I say, self-employed, so they just pay a rental fee from each lesson that they give. Latham started in 1978. There was a local musician, Kurt Latham, who started it. So we are in year 48 of Latham's. In the early 90s, Kurt sold the business to Jeff Jensen. That was one of his employees. Jeff is who I first worked for. So I worked with him for about 12 years. And I still remember the night that he just asked me if I'd ever be interested in buying the business. And again, that was not anything I'd ever thought about. I just studied music because I liked it. Wanted to just write, record, play music. So that's kind of how I ended up as a business person. Was I realized I either needed to buy the business or someone else would, or deal with any other, if he liquidated or what, I'd have to find another job. So my wife and I moved back in with my mom for a couple of years, saved money, sold the house that I had bought and fixed up. So anyway, took a little bit of effort, but we were able to buy the business. I think I mentioned I did start as a guitar student when I was 16. Just lucky, got in with Jason Riley at Latham's. Fantastic guitar instructor. He was the person who kind of got me my teaching job there. So I kind of followed his path, went to Missouri Western, was studying music, taking guitar lessons, drum lessons, and luckily he called me when they were needing another guitar instructor. And so that's kind of where I got my foot in the door, got to know everybody there. And then 2001, graduated from Missouri Western, and that's when I got part-time sales, kept teaching guitar as well. Our target market, of course, musicians, really, which spans all ages, churches, schools, businesses, where we're installing audio systems, band directors, band students, and private lesson students. We also have a rock and roll camp that we do, which is really more just for fun. It's not something we really make much money on, but it's just such a thrill to see young people getting together, working with an instructor. It's a week long every summer, and then we do stuff throughout the year as well. But we take young people, put them in a group with an instructor. They'll learn a few cover songs, and by the end of the week, we put them on stage, and they're getting to perform in front of a crowd, which is just really awesome. It's probably the most fun thing we do. Economics and figures. Over the past 5 years, we've had gross sales from 1.2 million up to about 1.5 million. Profits have been increasing steadily over that time, which I attribute most of that to the band rentals, but sound systems as well, that has grown. I've been fortunate to have somebody that has really taken ownership of that part of the business, and he does just a really fantastic job for me. The private lessons, of course, COVID kind of knocked out a lot of that, but we have seen a steady growth since then. So are increasing each year so far for the past 5 years. About 160 lessons that we give currently. Also, the band rentals, that fortunately has steadily increased as well. So right now we have just over 400 instruments that are rented out all over Northwest Missouri. And then I'd say the biggest boost, we started with just a few schools, and that took quite a while to get our foot in the door because I learned that in the band rental world, it can be pretty cutthroat with some of these companies. So I just kind of let these band directors know that we were there, and eventually somebody dropped the ball. We got in with our first school, and word kind of spread from there. But this last year, having those retired band directors, like I say, has really given it a big boost. That they're going in, they're helping with the programs, and I think that's really appreciated by the band directors. I still see the greatest growth potential are going to be band rentals, sound installations as well. I feel like we still aren't in with businesses quite as much as I would like to be. I feel like churches and schools are what we've kind of specialized in, doing football fields, baseball fields, gyms, church sanctuaries. I am training a second sound installer so we can hopefully get in to doing more of the business kind of stuff. I mentioned I did just hire a week ago today my third band repair technician. Current goal, I was really hoping to hit 500 instruments rented this last year, and it was a little bit down. But I do feel like that's a pretty attainable goal for us this coming year, this fall. And then I had presented here probably 10, 11 years ago. And at that time, my business plan was really focused on being service oriented. And I think that's kind of still the direction that we're trying to grow, which has to do with like challenges, I guess, I think is next. Oops. Yeah, internet competition. So that was really my business plan, was how to navigate the internet competition, because I feel like people are just constantly getting coupons, or there's certain companies that will, if you buy from them, they're going to start calling you. And it feels like trying to get people in the door is always a challenge for us. Margins on retail sales still, the margins are getting smaller. So, and I think some of that does have to do with the internet competition. Like the big companies, they'll have bots that if somebody lists, say, a guitar for a certain low price, you know, those big sites, they're automatically going to go and find the lowest price. And so we're always trying to match everything that's online. But like I say, those margins have continued to decrease. I used to get bigger early pay discounts from my vendors. Those are starting to go away as well. Freight costs, they seem to just always go up. And then some of my competition actually comes from companies that we sell their product, which seems a little crazy, but over the past 10 years, especially, companies like Fender guitars, I'd say probably 90% of guitar companies, they're selling direct to consumer. So they at least typically keep margins at a decent place, but they are becoming more competition for us. Some of them are doing exclusive offers now, which has been really difficult. I had a customer last Christmas that I know her well enough that she texted me and said, "Hey, can you get me this guitar, $1,000 guitar for her daughter for Christmas?" And it was right on Fender.com. And I called my Fender rep because I couldn't find it available to order. And they said, "Well, that's a Fender exclusive." So they wouldn't even sell it to me to be able to make any kind of profit on. So just another area of competition. And then I'd say one of my challenges is burnout. So having 11 employees, I pay all the invoices, I pay all the taxes, and do all the HR scheduling, stuff like that. So I'd say that's one of my personal challenges as well. And we are located on the North Belt Highway 2401. I guess open it for questions. Yes.
So a couple things. Number one, huge fan of Latham. I actually spent a lot of time there. You probably know.
Yes.
Buy instruments. I'm very good at them. That's a requirement. But also, it sounds like there's been a shift. It used to be, you had the drum roll and guitars. And
right.
I can't believe somebody would buy a guitar online without playing it first. But that's just me. So it's been interesting to watch that shift as you're talking about the band instruments as opposed to being the place where you go to get a Fender and try your guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's the first part. And the second part is I'm not sure if you remember the game Rock Band that was so popular about a decade ago.
Yeah.
They just announced a new one that's coming out this fall. So do you anticipate kind of a trend from the electronic music now that you make on your computer back to some of the singer-songwriters sitting there playing guitar trying to be cool?
Yeah, it is. The shift is interesting. Like the finished goods, especially where people don't have to put it in their hands to know what they're getting. I've seen those sales continually slow. Guitars typically, the instruments that people want to try out before they buy, those sales are still pretty strong. But there are certain areas like drum cymbals. That's something that I think, with all the YouTube stuff and people watch videos, get all the sound samples there. I ended up clearancing out a bunch of cymbals, which I hated to do because I'm a drummer as well, but they just weren't moving for us. It is interesting how there is a cycle to music, and like COVID, it was amazing that when people were stuck, that part was not amazing, but guitar sales spiked huge. Like they said that more guitars sold, or it spiked bigger than when the Beatles were first on the Ed Sullivan Show. Like the Beatles played, everybody wanted to play the guitar. COVID hit, everybody was stuck at home, and we sold so many guitars during that period, and we couldn't hardly get them back into stock was the difficult part. But yeah, there's definite cycles, and it does seem like, anything that comes out like that, Rock Band, or it does definitely help business. Yeah.
Two questions. When you started at age 16, were you a 1099 employee at that time? Were you ever on the payroll? How did you decide to go to the 1099 route with your instructors?
Oh, yeah, that was just something that I think was there from the start, probably 48 years ago when they started. Yeah, there are benefits to going that route, and I think it just kind of simplifies things. And of course, to change partway through when you've got 15 instructors that are used to it a certain way, I've just always continued going that same route.
And then talk about your rental. How do you keep track of 400 instruments? When did you pick up that line of business?
So that line of business, that was an idea that I definitely wanted to implement pretty early on when I became the owner. So within that first year, we started to piece together, looking how other rental companies were doing it, how they did their contracts. So it's really, it is a business within the business. So I have, we've gotten it set up where people can actually rent through our website, which is nice. Being that we have these band reps, people can order it through our website, pay for it, do all that, and then we actually deliver to the schools. So there's that about roughly 30 schools that we go to. But fortunately, kind of baby stepped in every year. Most of the profit that I make from it rolls right back into it, ordering more instruments.
So do you own the equipment or do you sublease it?
We do own it. Yeah. So I've been fortunate to be able just to buy more instruments every year. But yeah,
But instruments aren't cheap. So.
They're not cheap for sure. So, but yeah, it's been a really good part of the business, and I think geographically we're kind of lucky. There used to be 3 music stores just in St. Joe. now that it's just us, we have people come to us and they think of us as their local store, even, sometimes coming from Trenton or Chillicothe, as far north up to the border. So fortunately, yeah, we cover a pretty big area. Yeah.
I didn't know you did large scale sound installs. What two questions. What software do you use to prevent phasing, even wash inside of a large spaces like what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And second question is, have you thought about getting into the full AVL package where you're including video and lighting in the process?
We actually do some video and lighting as well. And as far, I don't know for sure what my installer is using, but he got his degree in music, like sound production. So he likes to geek out over that kind of stuff, which is just awesome. That he wants everything to just be pristine, and so he'll use feedback locating and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, as far as the program goes, I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, you mentioned rentals. Is it only for band, like schools, or like say I maybe want to try to learn something, but I don't want to go spend $500 on something. So can I rent it as an adult and then take lessons, or is it only for band?
Right now, it's really just band and orchestra. Yeah, for a short while, we did try to do rentals on other instruments, and I don't know if I just need to work out some of the details to make it more efficient. But when we were doing like long-term rentals on these band instruments that were rent to own, just some of the figures are a little bit different in trying to do that. So it is just band and orchestra. Yeah.
First off, I think that transitioning to more of a service-based kind of focus is really intelligent with margins dropping and all the competition. I think that's going to help with longevity. Just want to say I think that's really clever. But I wanted to ask if you had any strategies to combat burnout. Like, do you have anything in place? Like, are you working on to get or?
I feel like I have made attempts, and currently I feel pretty good. I've got a new employee that has taken a few things on himself, which has been great, which is Jonathan here. But because he was bored, he doesn't have enough to do. But I feel like I do have some good employees now. Sometimes it's that part of the business. It's challenging to find someone who wants to take on responsibility, who wants to make decisions when I'm not there. So I feel like I'm starting to put some of those things in place. I've had a couple of people quit, and of course, when someone quits, then that falls on me. So I kind of pick up the slack, but I feel like I've got a good group of people in place now, trying to do things to keep those employees, which a few of them I hired specifically because their resume said they'd been at a job for over 10 years. And I thought, that's what I need. I don't want to hire somebody that's just always looking for the next thing. So keeping the continuity with employees, the full-time employees, after 6 months, I do offer profit sharing. I've been trying to do health insurance, but that's so expensive that I've just not been able to get health insurance for the employees. But I did recently get Aflac with one of my customers. Came in and said he was selling it. So I said, well, yeah, give me your spiel. And so I was able to at least do that. But yeah, I do feel like I'm hoping that I'll be able to keep the same group of employees and delegate more to where I can, have a day off and turn my phone off for a bit. Yes.
Really, the question is just a comment. I'm a customer, and that's why I say
Yeah.
your staff, I think, does a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Always answer your questions properly. Real good staff.
Thank you. Yeah, I am fortunate. I've had really good employees, and I think the appeal of working in a music store, there's usually somebody wanting that position. So, yes.
I heard you say you're doing all your own bookkeeping and paying taxes and all of that. Have you considered outsourcing that? Is that just too much of an expense for you, or it seems like getting that off your plate would be helpful?
It would be, and I probably need to explore that. I've talked to other business owners that have done that. That was a situation where I had an in-house person doing the books for me, and then right when COVID hit, I discovered she'd been stealing for like 2 years. a pretty big amount of money. So that was a situation where I just kind of got thrown into it, and have stuck with it, which I don't mind doing it. I kind of enjoy it. But yeah, it's just sometimes it gets to be like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and I haven't gotten done with things from the morning. So yes.
So you said that there used to be 3 music shops in town, and now there's only one.
Yes.
I personally take lessons, so you can be any age and take lessons, take drums and piano. And I've used you guys for like rentals for my little things. I know I'm not contributing to your big business, but how can we? Because I just think it's so important that we have a music store in town. So, is there anything that you need from the community to like make sure you don't go away? Because I really like I don't want to, and I've seen towns lose their music stores because of all the problems these days. So, is there
Yeah.
anything? Or are you guys doing pretty good? Or like, just do you need anything?
Any help, word of mouth is always great. I think the biggest thing for us would be to get heavier into the St. Joe district with rentals. I feel like, yeah, the support as far as sound systems go, I feel like that's been really good. That we've worked with most of the schools and churches in town. But still, the band rental thing, I think we're viewed, or we are smaller. I mean, there are companies like say the world of band rentals. I realized pretty quickly it was pretty cutthroat. Like I showed up to a band rental at a school, and another company was there, and it was just crazy, like how pushy. And we were on opposite sides of the room, and they sent one of their reps over to stand in front of me. It was just nuts. So these companies, they'll come to St. Joe, and they obviously want that business. And so I have a lot of competition from companies that are coming from Kansas City and places. So I think just word of mouth that we're doing these rentals is probably be the most beneficial. Yeah.
I know you talked about the band instrument repair stuff.
Yeah.
And I've tried my best over the years to send people your way for like guitar and speak like amp repairs.
Yeah.
But I don't see a whole lot of people like. I don't think people know that that's a service you offer. Like they get a guitar that's broken, like not just a string, but it's tremolo or whatever.
Yeah.
Or in my case, multiple woofers and bass cabinets. But anyway, finding. I don't know if that's an area to market because St. Joe kind of what my experience in the 40 some years I've been with the band scene. It's this as far as like the music scene in St. Joe. We seem to have like an uptick every 5 years where we have a lot of bands that seem to go on and play stuff like Southwest or whatever, Troop Hits or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think we have a strong enough local music scene. But it seems like those are always the people I'm like, well, Latham fixes that stuff. Like, is there any way to promote to the local music scene the repair aspect? Because I know they can buy it, but
yeah.
I've seen guys that are like, I don't play that one anymore because it cracked. It's like, no, you can fix that.
Yeah. That probably is something that we could.
Not a huge income generator, but I'm just thinking, like Elizabeth was saying,
yeah,
knowing that hey, there's a local service here that's available.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that probably is something that we could push more of. I know because I've gotten so fixated probably on the band rental stuff. We've done videos of like before and after on a flute. So you take a grimy flute and do a sped up video and show how well they turn out. But we haven't really pushed the repair guitar, electronic kind of stuff quite as much.
I wasn't willing to rent the flute for my daughter because she would try something and stop, try something and stop.
Mm-hmm.
So I found a good used flute, but then was willing to bring it to you, which I did, and had you guys repad it, tune it,
yeah,
make it good for her. So for me, it was a smaller investment instead of renting to get her own flute and had you guys make it right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's as profitable as rent or not, but it would seem like, maybe you could have skipped me a step of finding the flute. Here's one that I've already got that's resellable to someone, to an annoying dad that doesn't want to rent.
Yeah. We buy instruments. So people will bring in, you say, an old flute that somebody used 20 years previously and just looking to get rid of. So we do try to refurbish a lot of instruments and try to have a good inventory of used. So just more, like you say, more affordable, but you probably did the best thing. You can find a good used one pretty inexpensively and just, get it fixed up. They'll play like new.
Right.
Yeah.
Have your different income sources, and which one do you find on which one you have the best margin in? Which one?
I think it is the band rentals.
Really?
Yeah.
More cutthroat. I mean, I would have thought that. I would have thought that margin would be smaller.
No, it's actually probably one of the more lucrative because it's been able to snowball each year. You know, you rent 50 instruments, and when people do the rent to own, and we explain all of it right up front, that we'll sell it, the instrument, at a discount if they want to just buy it. But if they do the rent to own, of course, we're financing that instrument over usually 3 years or so. It's kind of the average. So in the long run, we end up making about 40% more. So yeah, as long as we can afford that upfront cost, which luckily we're to that point that, we've got enough instruments out there that each year just buy more. And that I'd say it in the sound installations, but that can be kind of cyclical that, we may do. These last 2 years have been really good, but it does seem like there's always a point where it just kind of dries up and we're not getting as many sound installations. Thank you.
All right, don't forget book club next week. Everybody have a wonderful day. 60 degrees, 70 degrees.
Thank you.
I still think you should have